Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's go west to Los Angeles. They call it the Big Apple. To talk with the college football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football out there in L.A. for tonight's college football playoff national championship game between TCU and Georgia. We are joined by Mike Craven. I'm interested from your perspective, and maybe this is a silly question, but let's say that you're TCU and you go out there and you win the toss. Do you want to start on offense or do you want to start on defense? Because I think there's a reasonable argument on either side. Where do you think TCU really needs to set the tone in this game?
Yeah, they won the toss last week and they deferred. So I'd imagine they do a similar thing here. And the reason I think that is because you can go into the halftime and make adjustments on offense more easily than on defense. And so with your script, it doesn't matter if you get the ball first or second in the first half, you're going to run your offensive script either way. Coming out of halftime, though, you kind of know what the game's going to look like. You know if you're behind, in a big amount and you need to come out passing. You know if you're ahead and you need to come out and establish the run and waste some more clock. And so, I think that they'll defer if they win the toss, go on defense, see if they can get a stop and then get a lead just like they did against Michigan last week.
So on the defensive side for TCU, because I think that's really where they're going to have to make some hay against what has been a really explosive Georgia team. I talked a little bit about how I'm pretty worried about the Georgia tight ends, Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers in this game. A.D. Miller, their wide receiver, is back there as well. For Georgia, obviously Stetson Bennett, the fourth, is going to be a key part of what they do. But kind of fill in this blank. If blank has a big game for Georgia, the Horned Frogs are probably in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's Bowers. Mm-hmm. Those tight ends are what makes this Georgia offense different. Their ability to go into 12 personnel and do anything on a play sheet is just different than any other college football team. Definitely this year and maybe in recent memory. I mean, they're really. They got 2 first-round, second-round draft picks there playing tight end that are not only just blockers, but they can go, be wide receivers in the pass game. Darnell Washington's health has been up in the air. I think he's the version of Kendre Miller for Georgia, where we're just not sure how much he's going to play, if he can play. That changes things for Georgia if he's not on that field. But, Bowers is a stud, man. I mean, he's like a legit wide receiver that, 6'5", 260, can block, can play inline, can play slot, can get split out. I don't know if there's anybody in college football who can match up with that, but I do think TCU's secondary has been the strength of that defense for most of the year. Guys like Bud Clark, Mark Perry are really good, strong safeties, free safeties that can cover. So that's going to be an interesting matchup is how that secondary handles Georgia's big tight ends, big wide receivers. And if they have to unload the box enough to where Georgia's just able to run it, that's going to put them in a real dilemma. But they had the same one against Michigan last week, and they figured it out. They've kind of figured it out all year. You've been waiting for this 3-3-5 to kind of get overpowered by somebody, and it hadn't happened yet. And so we'll see if they can do it for one more game.
All right, it's time for a very special national championship edition of Craven Bats. And so the line right now, I'm looking at it right now, the consensus line is Georgia as a 13-point favorite. Mike Craven, let's hear your where's the corner putting their money tonight?
I honestly think it's Georgia plus or minus the points. I guess for me, and this has probably been true all year, and so maybe fade my advice here, but it just feels like TCU is a Cinderella story that sooner or later the clock has to strike midnight. It just does, right? They're not supposed to be here. They were 5-7 last year. They were 14-16 over the last 3 years before they got here. As I mentioned earlier, only 4 players on this team has played past Christmas in a TCU uniform before this year. It's just hard for me to believe that they go into this game against a team who's done it, who's been there, who's done that, who didn't play all that well last week. That's probably going to come out and play a better game offensively and defensively than last week. I just feel like Georgia's too good for TCU. But I've been wrong a lot on TCU this year. I had them 6-6 in the magazine, so maybe I'm not the right person to listen to on the Horned Frogs this year.
He's Mike Craven. He will be there live at SoFi Stadium tonight for the national championship game between the TCU Horned Frogs and the Georgia Bulldogs. And then you can hear him on Republic of Football talking all about it. Craven, appreciate your time, my friend. Enjoy California and enjoy the game tonight.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all be good.
There he goes, Mike Craven, college football insider. There at Dave Campbell's Texas Football out there at the national championship game in Los Angeles. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.